Hello, Matthews Gatos here. Welcome to Chapter 7, Lesson 6, Multiplying Rational Expressions. Before we get into multiplying with variables, let's review how to multiply numbers. So when I multiply two fractions together, all I do is I multiply the numerators together, the denominators together, and then put it into lowest terms. So for example, when I have 7 out of 10 times by 1 out of 5, I just do 7 times 1, which is 7, over 10 times 5, which is 50. And then if I can, I put it in lowest terms. That one can't go in lowest terms, so this is my final answer. In the next one, I'm going to do 9 times 20, that's 180, over 10 times 21, that's 210. So after I've multiplied my numbers together, my numerator and denominator, I just put it into lowest terms. And in lowest terms, my answer is 6 over 7. So let's look at an example here where we're multiplying a single variable rational expression. So in this example here, all I have to do is factor my numerator, factor my denominator, and then multiply. So the first one's already factored, nothing I can do there. This one here has a GCF of 2, so I take that out. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and that's x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then in the bottom, I have a GCF of x. So divide out the GCF of x, and I'm left with x times x plus 1. Now, at this point here, before I go any further, I need to state my non-permissible values for the denominator. So look at all of the factors. So for positive 3, the opposite is negative 3. For x, that's a monomial. Monomial always has restrictions that x can't be 0. And then the opposite of a plus 1 is a negative 1. I only state my non-permissible values for the denominator because it's a no for 0 in the denominator, but it's okay if 0 is in the numerator. Now, once I'm done that, I'm just going to multiply numerators with numerators, denominators with denominators, creating a big fraction. And once I do that, I can see common factors, so I can simplify by canceling my common factors, not my common terms, but my common factors, and then list your final answer. Final answer, 2 over x with the restrictions that x can't be negative 3, 0, and negative 1. And then it's just that simple. So let's try this one here. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to factor. So 4x and 16 have a greatest common factor of 4. So 4x divided by 4 is x. Take away 16 divided by 4 is 4. 2x minus 1, that has no common factors, so I just leave it like that. 14x minus 7, that has a GCF of 7. So 14x divided by 7 is 2x, minus 7 divided by 7 is 1. And then x minus 4 squared, I'm just going to write that out twice because it's easier for me to cancel and simplify when I have two different factors. Okay, let's state our non-permissible values. So here, no variable, no restriction. Here, the opposite of a negative 1 is a positive 1. The opposite of times by 2 is divide by 2. Okay, for here, the opposite of a minus 4 is a positive 4. And the opposite of a minus 4, positive 4, I already have it. So there are my non-permissible values, my restrictions all together. Now, when I'm multiplying, I'm just going to make it one great big fraction, and then I'm going to look and simplify. So I have a factor of 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1, a factor of x minus 4 and x minus 4, and that is it. So I'm left with 4 over 7 times x minus 4. And that's my final answer, which of course I will leave in factored form. Factored form is simplest form. Okay, you can always check these answers in the calculator. So I put my original into y1, my answer into y2. Remember, the check always happens in the table, and you can see for all permissible values, y1 equals y2. Notice there's an error at 4 because that was one of our restrictions. Okay, let's look at class example number 2. So again, I'm going to factor. So 2x cubed minus 4x squared. So 2 and 4 have a GCF of 2. X cubed and x squared have a GCF of x squared. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. X cubed divided by x squared is x. Minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared divided by x squared is 1. And then that's multiplied by x squared. Again, I'm going to write it out twice, just because it makes canceling a little easier. So 3x squared minus 9x. 3 and 9 have a GCF of 3. X squared and x have a GCF of x. So 3x squared divided by 3x is x, minus 9x divided by 3x is 3. X squared minus 4, that's just a difference of squares, x minus 2x plus 2. And now that I've factored everything, I'm ready for my non-permissible values. So 3x is a monomial. Monomial has restrictions that x can't be 0. X minus 3 is a binomial, so the restriction is the opposite, which is positive 3. X minus 2 is a binomial, so the restriction is the opposite. And x plus 2 has a restriction of negative 2. So I've stated all of my restrictions. Now I'm ready to multiply. So I just multiply it as one big fraction, and then I look for common terms, no, common factors to simplify. So x minus 2 and x minus 2 are gone. I have 3x. Let's talk about that for a minute. 3x really just means 3 times x. So I can cancel the x with the x. And doesn't appear to be anything else. So in the numerator, I'm left with 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. And then I'm left with 3 times x minus 3 and x plus 2. And that would be my final answer. So a little short lesson here. The summary: factor the numerator and denominator fully. State your non-permissible values of the denominator before you simplify, and then look for common factors to the numerator and denominator and simplify, leaving your answer in factored form. I love this joke. What tool do you use in math? You use multipliers. Multipliers, get it? So funny. Okay, you guys can go ahead and do your assignment 1 to 7. Little typo in the answer key for C. Take note of what the answer should be. So I hope this video helped, and I'll see you for the next one.